Okay, so my background noise is ocean waves because I'm sick of cold weather and just helps drown out the noise in the house. So here our lesson is, it says there is only one line passing through a given point with a given slope. And that is the whole theme here. So we're talking really about slope again and how to draw a line passing through 2 points. So here's an equation, okay, and this equation we want to know that that is this line here. That's a way this equation represents this line. And a point where the line intersects the y-axis. Well, we want to find where this line crosses the y-axis, which is right here. And so if we look, the x-coordinate is 0, and the y-coordinate, we're on the y, so that's 3. So that's 0, 3. Now to find the slope, we can take our colored pen and do a vertical line and a horizontal line through the 2 separate points. So that means we're going up 2 and we're going right 3, positive 3. So that means it's going to be, whoa, wait a minute, what am I saying, positive 3? We're going up 1. Don't ask me what I'm doing. And we're going right 2. Okay, so that's going to be the slope 1/2. Now, then it says, we'll come back and compare these to this in just a minute. Now it says graph the equation, and it's supposed to say y is equal to 1/2 x. Okay, now remember when we have y equals kx, we know that that is a proportional relationship where the line goes through the point 0, 0, the origin, and it has a unit rate of k, or a constant of proportionality, and we now know that that's the same thing as the slope. So if we plot this point, we know that it goes through the origin at 0, 0, and then we can use the slope, which is 1/2. We learned that in the last one. So k is the same thing as the slope, which is 1/2. So we know we can go up 1 and then right 2 and get another point. And 2 points determine a line. This new point is 2, 1. So now we can take a straight edge and we can draw this line. But remember, we don't really need a straight edge, because if I draw a diagonal through these 2 squares, that I'm rising 1 and I'm going to the right 2, then I can keep doing that all the way up the line. Well, I'm going to go up 1 more and right 2, so I'm doing a diagonal through those 2 squares, then a diagonal through the next 2 squares, and then a diagonal through the next 2. And then I can go down here and do a diagonal through these 2 down here. So I've got my line. Well, what do we notice about this line compared to this line? Okay, well, they never touch, so they are parallel. And we also know they both have a slope. It's the same, and that slope is m equals 1/2. Alrighty, so now if we come back to this equation, notice that it's got a 1/2 in front of the x just like this one does, and its slope is 1/2. So the 1/2 is the slope, and in an equation of a line that does not pass through the origin, we call that slope, we give it the name m, or the constant m. And then notice that it goes through the y-axis at 3, and we have this plus 3 right here. That is the y-intercept, where it intercepts the y-axis, and we call that the letter b. So this form right here, this is the slope, the m, and the b is the y-intercept. Let's put y-int. Okay, so same thing for this one, but notice that this line, it also goes up from right to left. So we should have, or left to right, so we should have a positive slope. So it goes through the y-axis. Well, if we come down here, this is at 0, -4. So we're going to put that in right here. And then the slope. Well, let's go from this point to this point. So let's draw a vertical line through the leftmost point, horizontal through the rightmost point, and let's travel up this line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the vertical change, and the horizontal change is 1. So my slope is 5 over 1, which is the same thing as 5. Now look back at this line, the equation for the line. The slope is 5. Yep, there's the 5. And notice the y-intercept, it's at y equals -4. And really, we could change that to plus a -4, and so that does indicate that it is a -4. Okay, now we're going to graph y equals 1/2 x, and I forgot the y's on this again. And it shouldn't be 1/2 x, it should be 5x on this one. That's a typo. All right, so in this case, we're going to go through the point 0, 0, which would be right here. And then we're going to go up 5, so we're going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to this point right here. And then we're going to go to the right, it's 5 over 1, so we're going to go to the right 1, and so here's our next point. This is not really a point on the line, I should not have plotted that there. But we're going to go through these two, and notice I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I'm going diagonally through 5 squares, and I'm going to come diagonally down here through 5 squares. 5. So I'm coming down like that. Now, it's hard to tell because I didn't draw a very good straight edge line, but if I do, these two lines here again are parallel, and they both have a slope 5 for both lines. Alrighty, so learned something new there. So now we're going to go where the point where the line intersects the y-axis. Well, it's -2 on the y and 0 on the x. And then my slope. Well, let's use this point down here. So notice this time it goes down from left to right, so we know it should be what kind of slope? Yep, negative. All right, so if we go down 2 spaces, we're going -2 down. Then we're going to the right 2 spaces, so that's, no, 3 spaces, I'm sorry, so that's +3. So my slope is -2 over 3, which is -2/3. Notice there's my slope there, and my y-intercept is -2, and so I could put plus -2 on there, and that would work. I'll just change it there. Okay, and then number D, or letter D, same thing. Point where the line intersects the y-axis would be at 0, 7. And the slope, it goes down, ooh, let's go ahead and draw these lines. It's negative, so it should go down. And we'll draw this line right here. So we go down 1, 2, 3, -3, and we go right 1. So that would be +1, so it's going to be -3 over 1, which is -3. Notice that there's my slope, -3, and my y-intercept is 7, and that's always where x would be 0. All right, so then we have a couple of examples here, and you can get on your practice. Okay, now we're going to actually just graph the line that passes through the point 3, 3, and has a slope of 2, 3. Well, that's exactly what we've been doing. So we're going to go to point 3, 3, just another way to say it. So 3 on the x, 3 on the y. So there's my 3, 3. Has a slope of 2/3. So that means we can go up 2 and right 3. And there's another point. And then we can use a straight edge. Now, I'm also going to do one more point. If I can do +2 over 3, then I can also do -2 over -3, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I could also go down 2 and left 3. And when I do that, because I'm going -3, there's another point. And now I've got 3 points. 2 makes a line, but this one helps me see a little bit to the left what it is. And I'm going up 2 and over 3. So notice that there's a rectangle of 6 units there. So I can diagonal through those 6. And I could come down here and diagonal through those 6, which would be about right there. So that's a very good drawing of the line. Now it says, what is the equation for the line? This is just a little extra. Well, there's the y-intercept right there, because that's where x is 0 and y is +1. We know our slope is 2/3. So if we plug into the formula point slope form, y equals mx plus b, we'd put in 2/3 for m, whoops, 2/3, and we're going to put in 1 for the y-intercept. So y is equal to 2/3 x plus 1. All right, example 2. Same thing. We're going to 4, -5. So we go 4, and then we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the y. So there's 4, -5. And then our slope is -3 over 4. So I could go down 3, but notice here I don't have enough space. But I could also, that could be -3 over +4, or I can make it +3 over -4. So we're going to go from there, and we're going to go +3 first. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go left 4. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we end up at this point right there, which happens to be the y-intercept. Now, since these are so far apart, I'm going to go ahead and use my straight edge. So now I'm going to go up 3 and left 4 again. So if I want to make one more point, 1, 2, 3, yep, right there. So that works. So there's my line. My slope, well, notice we went through the y-intercept again. So that's, or through the y-axis. So the y-intercept is at -2, and that means x is 0. And we also know the slope is -3/4, or +3 over -4. So we can say y is equal to slope -3/4 x plus y-intercept is at -2. And I could rewrite that as y is equal to -3/4 x minus 2. So that would be how we would see it. Okay, one more. And remember, you can pause this video, rewind at any time if there's something you didn't get. Okay, so we're going to plot the point, 1 on the x, 3 on the y, no, -3 on the y. So there's 1, 3, comma, -3. And then we have a slope of 4. So that would be the same thing as 4 over 1, positive. So we can go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam. Then we go right 1. So bam, there's another point, and that's at 2, 1. Now we could also go down 4 and left 1, because negative over a negative is a positive. So let's do one more point. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if we go left 1, there's our y-intercept. That's a good deal, because now we can do the equation. So if I draw my line with a straight edge, since these are a bit further apart, okay, my line is going to be y equals, the slope is 4. So positive 4x plus b, which in this case is -7. And then we could rewrite that as y is equal to 4x minus 7. All right, and then there's a lesson summary at the bottom that you can read on your own, and then you'll start your practice tomorrow. Have a good evening or afternoon or whatever it is for you.